Imagine this. You're in a relationship, romantic, familial, or platonic, and the harmony you once felt starts to crack. Arguments flare over small things, misunderstandings pile up, trust wavers, and a quiet resentment creeps in. You might call it a toxic phase, a moment when the connection feels heavy, messy, even unbearable. Most of us run from these moments, blaming the other person, ourselves, or the relationship itself. But what if this so-called toxicity isn't a sign of failure? What if it's a signal, an urgent, messy call to something deeper, something truer? Today, we're diving into a truth most people avoid. Every relationship needs a toxic phase, not to destroy it, but to transform it. If you've ever felt trapped in conflict, wondered why a relationship turns sour, or feared that the tension means it's doomed, this video is for you. By the end of our journey, you'll not only understand why these difficult phases are essential, but also discover a powerful truth. The mess of a toxic phase is where real intimacy is born. It's not the end of connection, it's the doorway to it. Let's explore why. The word toxic carries a heavy weight. We hear it and think of harm, betrayal, or irreparable damage. But let's reframe it. A toxic phase isn't just chaos, it's a signal, a moment when the unspoken truths of a relationship rise to the surface. Psychologist John Gottman, who studied couples for decades, found that conflict isn't the enemy of relationships, avoidance is. When tensions bubble up, whether it's a partner's silent withdrawal, a friend's sharp words, or a family member's stubbornness, it's the relationship saying, "Pay attention. Something needs to change." Think about it. Have you ever noticed how the worst fights often come when you're both tired, stressed, or hiding something? That's no accident. These moments expose what's been buried, unmet needs, unvoiced fears, or mismatched expectations. The toxic phase is like a fever in the body, uncomfortable, even painful, but often necessary to burn away what's not working. In the words of poet Rumi, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." This phase, messy as it is where the light of growth begins to shine. Here's the first truth. A toxic phase isn't a verdict on your relationship. It's an invitation to see it clearly. It's the moment when masks fall off, when you stop pretending everything's fine and start facing what's real. But this requires courage to stay, to listen, to lean into the discomfort rather than run from it. So let's ask, what's the last toxic moment you faced in a relationship? What was it trying to show you? Hold that thought, because it's the key to what comes next. Every relationship, no matter how strong, hits a point where the honeymoon fades and the raw edges of two souls collide. This is the crucible, the place where illusions burn away and the real work of connection begins. Carl Jung, the great psychologist, believed that relationships are a path to individuation, the process of becoming your true self. But that path isn't smooth. It's forged in friction, in the moments when you're forced to confront not just the other person's flaws, but your own. A toxic phase often reveals what Jung called the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide or deny. Maybe you're controlling because you fear abandonment. Maybe your partner's anger masks their insecurity. These shadows clash, creating tension that feels toxic but is actually transformative. The question isn't, how do we avoid this, but how do we move through it? The answer lies in what psychologists call differentiation, the ability to stay connected to someone while remaining true to yourself. Here's a practical step. In the heat of a toxic phase, pause and ask, what am I afraid of losing here? Is it control, approval, safety? Then turn to the other person and ask, what are you feeling right now? These questions shift the dynamic from blame to curiosity. They're not easy. Conflict makes us defensive, but they're powerful. They create a space where both of you can be seen, not as enemies, but as humans navigating the messy beauty of connection. Modern research supports this. Studies show that couples who engage in honest, even heated conflict are more likely to build lasting intimacy than those who avoid it. Why? Because a toxic phase, when faced with courage, strips away pretense and forces authenticity. It's the fire that tempers the steel of a relationship, making it stronger, if you're willing to stay in the heat. Here's where the toxic phase reveals its purpose. It's not about destruction, it's about alchemy. Just as an alchemist transforms lead into gold, a toxic phase can transform a shallow connection into one of depth and meaning. But this requires a shift, from fighting to win to fighting to understand. It's about seeing the other person not as an obstacle, but as a mirror, reflecting back parts of yourself you need to face. One of the greatest myths about relationships is that they should always feel good, but true intimacy isn't built on constant harmony. It's built on navigating discord together. The toxic phase teaches you how to love, not the idealized version of someone, but the real, flawed, beautiful person in front of you. And that starts with loving yourself, flaws and all. As author Brené Brown says, we can only love others as much as we love ourselves. The toxic phase forces you to confront your own wounds, to heal them, and to bring that healing into the relationship. Try this. In your next conflict, instead of reacting, take a moment to breathe and name what's happening inside you. Are you hurt? Afraid? Then share that truth, even if it feels vulnerable. Say, I'm feeling scared because I don't want to lose you, or I'm angry because I feel unheard. This vulnerability is the antidote to toxicity. It turns a fight into a conversation, a wound into a bridge. And in that bridge, you find something sacred, a connection that's not just surviving, but thriving. If you're in a toxic phase right now, know this. It's not a sign that your relationship is broken. It's a sign that it's ready to grow. The tension, the arguments, the silences, they're not the end. They're the beginning of something deeper. Every relationship needs a toxic phase because it's the crucible where trust is forged, where authenticity is uncovered, where love becomes real. The question is, will you run from the discomfort or lean into it? Will you see the toxicity as a curse or as a call to create something true? The most powerful truth is this. The toxic phase is where you learn to love without illusions. It's where you stop chasing a perfect relationship and start building a real one. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You just need to show up. One honest word, one vulnerable moment, one choice to stay present at a time. When you do, the toxicity transforms from a wall into a window, revealing a connection that's stronger, deeper, and more alive than you ever imagined. So here's my final question. What would your relationships look like if you stopped fearing the toxic moments and started seeing them as invitations to grow? If you trusted that the mess is where the magic happens? If that question stirs something in you, a spark of hope, a flicker of courage, then this is your moment. Step into the conflict, listen to its truth, and watch your relationships transform into something sacred. Thanks for looking.